Welcome to the Brow Report. Is a Thursday night edition of the show. Thanks so much for joining us tonight on the program. We greatly appreciate it. Remember, we're live on Periscope, so if you have any comments, questions, or want to get involved, feel free to comment during the show. If you're watching the Periscope app or the Periscope feed on your computer, give us a call, 347-884-8627. Tell us what's on your mind, all things politics. Stephen, the producer, is in the studio, so if you want to call in, call Stephen. He'll be glad to put you on the air tonight. We'll have co-host Bill up till the 9 o'clock hour. Then Barry Seacrest takes over, and we talk hot topics from conservativerefocus.com. But don't forget, folks, browreport.com is your home of news and views that you can use because we're looking out for you, the American people. We got a lot of great topics tonight with Barry at 9 o'clock, and me and Bill will be discussing all things politics and hot items throughout the show. We got a lot of crazy stories tonight, a lot of cool stories, and of course at the end of the show you get the feel-good story of the day, because you know what, the people demand the feel-good story, and that's what we do here at the Brow Report. We listen to our listeners, we listen to people that watch the video feeds, and we give you what you want. If you want something, we're going to try to do the best that we can to give it to you, because we love our listeners and our fans. Remember, the fan page, over 2,200 people like our fan page. So if you're not one of those 2,200 people, give us a like. Go to facebook.com/browreport and like us there. Go to browreport.com for the latest news and views that you can use. And also, don't forget, follow us on Periscope by following @browreport. And you get all our live feeds. If we're out in the street, talking to people, interviewing people, we want to hear from you. And guess what? November 6th, we got a special, folks. We're going to have the Brow Report street team. I know it's kind of a crazy thing, but we're going to have a street team of the guys. We're going to go out first Friday in downtown Lakeland, and we're going to be talking to people about politics. Pop quizzes, asking them questions, showing them pictures of people, and see if they can identify them. So if you see us with the Brow Report t-shirts out there on November 6th, first Friday downtown Lakeland, hey, come up and say hi to us. And don't forget, #Brow Report on Twitter and Facebook. When you see us, we want to hear from you. Come up to us, shake some hands, and tell us what you think about the show. We want to hear from you. And we've got Bill, our co-host tonight on the Thursday night edition, the first hour. Bill, how are you?
Doing great, man. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Here's the thing. I'm really excited about the show, Bill. Because you know what? We give the people what they demand. They wanted a video feed. We gave it to them. They said, we want more options. We love Periscope, but you know what we want? We want a way to rewind and fast forward because we missed something in the show. You know what we did, Bill? We gave them YouTube videos. And the Brow Report, we're going to expand it. We're going to do the website bigger and better. You're going to get more information than ever. And we are committed to educating the people on conservative and libertarian values, because you know what? That's what made America great, not social welfare programs that have completely failed. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, Bill. And let's start off first with the dumb criminal of the day. Okay, this moron, this comes out, okay, I'm sorry, Bill, I have to say this comes out of Florida, of course. It's Escambia County. Yeah, it's just one of those moments where you're like, oh God, not again. Okay, so man posing as officer. Okay, so this guy is posing as a police officer, you know, wannabe cop. So he goes up, he has some sort of truck, and they didn't identify the truck, I wish they had. But this guy has red and white lights, going on this truck. He pulls over this guy. He thinks he's pulling over some random guy. The moron of the day decided to pull off an undercover deputy. Bill, is this the moron of the day or what?
This guy's pretty stupid. I mean, number one, if you get pulled over by a police officer, it's going to be red and blue lights. Number one, so he's going down the highway with this, probably a beat up, if he's in Florida, it's either going to be some jacked up rig, some beat up old 1998 Ford Ranger with these red and white lights trying to flash and trying to pull some people over. One thing, I knew this was happening a few years back in Tampa with people impersonating police officers, pulling over women and raping the women. So it's one of those things. He pulled over the wrong person. He's a dumbass. So he's the dumbass of the day.
Yeah, he is. And here's the thing. That officer, and I think they had some reports of some guy pulling over people. So this officer, he knew that this was going down. Red and white lights. So he knew something was going down. It's like, got him.
Idiot.
Yeah, so, I mean, we
Just
got...
smiling his head off as he pulled over. He's like, all right, let's play. And got out, or whatever, the guy came up to the car. It doesn't really say too much in the story.
Yeah.
But the police officer comes up to the car, and the fake cop comes up to the police officer's car, and he proceeds to get arrested. So he's an idiot.
And here's the thing.
Idiot of the day.
The mugshot has been a white T-shirt. So here's the thing. I hope, if you wanted to be a smooth criminal, Michael Jackson reference, sorry, smooth criminal, he would have actually probably been wearing something more legitimate maybe than a white T-shirt. But who knows? Maybe this guy had like a fake, officer's uniform on to trick people. But this is just one of those things where it's a scary time out there, Bill, where people like this crazy guy will impersonate a police officer, rig up his truck to pull people over, and God knows do what to these people. I mean, there wasn't a lot of reports about what was happening in the area, but they're saying there was the authorities said I guess this guy's name is Lennon, is suspected of conducting stops on civilian vehicles from Santa Rosa County to Baldwin County, Alabama. It is unclear if he has an attorney. He's going to need a public defender. I mean, which attorney would really want to take this case of a guy that's impersonating a police officer? But this is just a prime example, Bill, of just the moron of the day.
Yeah, he has Matt.
Oh, there's Steven.
Yeah, I just wanted to cut it real quick. He's not going to get a public defender. He's going to get a public pretender. Should throw my 2 cents in there.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah. If you look at his mugshot, he has one of those predator mustaches, and his moles, if you look at it just right, form a perfect square. So he's an idiot and a square. I mean, look at that thing. You can connect the dots with those things and do one of those like 3D optical illusions if you like extrapolate it out a little bit. I mean, he's a complete idiot. He has the same white T-shirt on. There's no clear reason why people would even pull over for red and white lights.
Yeah. And it looks like
it's not a police vehicle.
I'm expecting Chris Hansen to pop up and say, "Got him," but I don't know if Chris Hansen will pop. But that would be hilarious. But he does look like one of those They Catch a Predator guys. I mean, he just looks like a complete jerk. But hey, they caught the guy. Thank God. They got him off the street. Hopefully, this will be a warning to other people. Don't impersonate a police officer, because you might pull over the undercover officer that's going to throw you real cuffs and get a real mugshot and probably a real sentence, because this is a felony charge. This isn't a misdemeanor, folks. He's getting felony charges for this. So, see ya, sucker. And second off, let's go for the weird story of the day. And I'm not saying this would be a trend on the show where we're going to do moron of the day or weird story of the day, but this is just one of those weird things where there's a Target in California where they all of a sudden started having, it was blaring over the loudspeakers of the Target store, where it started playing pornographic noises. The story comes out of California. Of course, it's California. I think that was tame compared to what they were actually hearing. I did not get to see the viral video that this one woman had done. She took the video, I guess, posted on YouTube. Of course, she's the great mom that had her 2 twin children with her, because, of course, she wanted to get a video of it happening. You know, don't take your kids out of Target, for God's sake, and take them outside. No, let's let the kids, and she said she put her hands over the kids' ears. You've got 2 kids, 4 ears. Please explain to me how you got that working out. But, you know, whatever works for you.
They're extremely flexible with her feet, or she's a freaking octopus.
I think she might almost get moron of the day. She's really darn close. So here's how the story goes, folks. I guess someone hijacks the Target intercom system. Some stores, they have intercom systems where you can actually go to, you can call out, or you can speed dial. It's connected to the outside world. I don't know how Target's intercom systems are, But this is not the first intercom system at Target that's been hijacked. Another one was hijacked a few months ago. So whoever hijacked it is playing this pornographic, noises over the intercom. The store manager and the people get it to stop, but a couple minutes later, after an apology from the store manager, it goes on for around a total of 15 minutes. So amazingly, they haven't caught the people yet, but just another prime example of, hackers. If the hackers can hack into an intercom system, just imagine what Chinese hackers can do to our country's infrastructure. If they can hack into a phone system remotely, they can probably hack into a power plant remotely. We are in some serious danger. And this is a preview of this, Bill.
Well, thank God it didn't happen in Publix, because shopping is a pleasure at Publix. You know what I'm saying?
Immense pleasure in this case. Immense pleasure.
Yeah. But they said that the actual store was evacuated.
Yes.
How do you evacuate? Everybody get out. There's porn playing.
Yeah, it's California, Bill. Wouldn't they be used to it by now? I mean, everything's legal in California. I mean, that's the whole of the porn industry.
Capital of the world.
Come on, guys. You would think that, hey, this is normal stuff for us. If you go down to San Francisco, I mean, there's porn all downtown. I mean, it's in broad daylight. So tell me again, in California, how are you not used to this by now? I mean, you're the home of, liberals, everywhere. I don't get that, Bill. And I don't know how people are offended by it in California either. I mean, look, they got Nancy Pelosi and Barbara Boxer, for crying out loud. How are they offended by this? They got the best of the best out there.
Well, I agree. I mean, it's the left coast is very loony, and anything goes. I mean, medical marijuana. You go to San Francisco, you can have all the alternative relationships that you want. Porn is king in Los Angeles and Southern California, so it shouldn't be any surprise that the degradation of this country is being on display at a Target. I'm surprised they didn't just walk around, shop as normal. There's some porn playing. Okay, let me get some cereal. So I don't know what
but to be
what the big deal is.
But it's organic cereal.
Down here, there'd be like a
no GMO.
Sorry?
No GMOs in their cereal, though. Porn's cool.
Yeah, right.
Over intercoms, but no GMOs in their cereal because those are bad for you. But it's just it's the irony of it.
Porn all you want.
Yeah. So crazy.
Yeah, it's their focus on what is proper and what is moral and what is right is completely different than the rest of the country. So it's not a big surprise that somebody would hack into a Target and start playing some porn. I'm just surprised that they actually evacuated the store. That's the biggest thing that I'm looking at on that story.
It was a porn threat. Porn threat Delta. I mean,
what you're talking about? Did you? I know we're going a little bit off topic.
Yeah.
Did you hear that story about the kid that's asked about gum?
No, I did not.
The school was on lockdown for the kid saying gum, not gun.
Oh my God! You gotta be kidding me.
That's the place that we're at right now. So I forget what school district it was, but the kid asked for some gum. Some other kid thought, he said, "Hey, I got a gun," and the whole place went crazy.
Oh, jeez. Just typical left-wing lunacy in this country. Guns are not bad, folks. And I'm going to go on my soapbox just for a moment. Not my literal soapbox, because if people watch on Periscope, I don't have a literal soapbox. But this gun thing, okay, here's the thing. They're always blaming guns. Obama and the left is always blaming guns for everything that happens, okay? A mass shooting. Blame the gun. They don't blame the criminal. Now, if there's a DUI, they blame the driver, not the car. It's kind of like, it's reversing it. You blame the car for the DUI, but not the person committing the DUI. You blame the sun for the skin cancer, but the person that keeps on laying out in the sun gets the skin cancer. It's like we live in a world of nut jobs, Bill.
Yep, I agree totally. I'm a proud gun owner. I'm a proud concealed carry owner, and God bless anybody that tries to get into my house. That's all I'm saying, and I'm not going to apologize for being a gun owner. I was listening to a story earlier that people were apologizing for owning guns because they don't hunt.
Oh my God!
They feel guilty
It's
for
out of
owning a
control.
gun because they don't hunt, and there's no actual use for it. My actual use for it, somebody threatens my family, that's it. That's my use for the gun. So it's the upside down world that we live in, where the criminals go free, and the people that want to defend themselves and actually are responsible adults and gun owners are the ones that are demonized. I see that Homeland Security is setting up a new alert system and tracking system for domestic terrorism. And if you remember a few years back, they labeled people that consider themselves conservative, libertarian, Second Amendment, pro-Second Amendment as potential threats. So what is this new Homeland Security thing going, alert systems about? So it's completely backwards what our founding fathers wanted, and it's getting back to a point where there's going to be a tipping point, and it's going to be a pretty scary time coming up.
It is, Bill. 100% agree. This is just one of those out of control things in this country, where the leftists continue to demonize guns. Last night on the show, Bill, I had a show, by myself, and I got to talk about a lot of topics that I was very passionate about. One of my most passionate things is history. I love history, Bill. You know that. And people that watch the show and listen to the show understand that as well. And I had a really good commentary about guns. Back in the 1800s, when the American Indians were being moved to reservations, which was one of the first times when the federal government decided to take people and move them around into camps. There were internment camps at that point, but they were called reservations. They took the guns from the American Indians and they moved them around. So they disarmed the American Indians and moved them to reservations. Now, the second time something like this has happened in this country was during World War II under FDR, where he took the Japanese Americans and put them in internment camps because their ethnic background, their lineage. They were afraid that the Japanese Americans may side with the Japanese Empire and the Emperor to try to cause domestic terrorism in the United States. That's a scary thought that many liberals in this country don't know history. Now, we do know, I don't know if they're still teaching in public schools, Bill, but I was taught about the American Indians being put on reservations, but we were not told the background of why it happened and all the issues that did occur. Now, we were never taught in school, I don't know about you, Bill, I mean, you got a couple years on me, but it was never explained when I was in high school or even college or middle school or any of those points, where they actually explained to us about the internment camps for the Japanese Americans. They literally rounded up people because of their ethnicity and put them into camps, while Hitler put Jews into camps. Now, we didn't murder a bunch of Japanese Americans, Bill, but who are we to say we are a better society than the Nazis back in the 1930s and 40s, when we were actually rounding up people because of their ethnic background and putting them in camps? It was happening on both sides. It's just that we happened to win that war. That's really scary stuff.
Yeah, if we didn't win the war, then there would be a major issue about that. It's kind of funny that the left are champion of human rights and diversity, and FDR was one of the biggest liberals around.
Oh, yeah,
so
huge.
He was a progressive. I'm not sure who was in charge, and I don't have the history in front of me back when the Indians were put into place. Or if you look at the civil rights movement back in the 60s, that the Republicans pushed that through, and the Democrats were very hard against the civil rights movement. So it seems like everything is being flipped, where they're erasing history and making things up to make the people that are common sense, the Republicans, people that want, less government, strong individualism, pride of the country as the bad guys. So with gun control comes tyranny, and we're already living in a society filled with tyranny right now. But whenever you get to that point where they can start confiscating guns, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but who knows? We have another 16 months left for this bozo in office.
Yeah,
you never know what's going to possibly happen.
Yeah, we got a few months left.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Well,
Anything can happen.
yeah, let's talk about, speaking of bozos and clowns, let's talk about the Democrat debate that occurred back on Tuesday night. We had a short show, 30-minute kind of preview of what we thought was going to happen. Honestly, Bill, I mean, I didn't know who was really going to be up there because, one, they were not getting any airtime except for Clinton and Sanders. I knew about O'Malley. There's Jim Webb. I think Jim Webb shouldn't even been up there. He might be better off running as a Republican because he had some views that...
I actually like Jim Webb.
Yeah.
I thought he did great.
Yeah, I thought that he was the voice of reason in a room full of weirdos. But, okay, did you watch it? Did you watch a majority of it, Bill? Because I did.
I watched to about 10 o'clock.
Okay, so
I was getting sick and tired. I was screaming at the TV, and I was done with it.
Yeah, we don't want high blood pressure to affect her health. So I turned it off at about 10:30ish, I guess, around there. I can't remember the exact time. But I do remember the point when Bernie Sanders was completely caught off guard like he was sleeping at the wheel. I guess Anderson Cooper said, "What do you think about this, Senator Sanders?" And it was almost like, huh? What happened? I mean, the guy wasn't
he was
paying
looking
attention.
down at his notes.
Yeah.
He looked like a deer caught in the headlight.
Oh, yeah, terrible. I think they did the debate for West Coast because I think they were more concerned because of all their ages, because the old white people, don't want to be up too late at night. You need to get their early birds in. But the debate there started at 5:30 West Coast time in Vegas. Can you imagine if they did it 8:30 East Coast? I mean, literally all of them would have been up to around 11:30 at night, which means you probably saw Bernie Sanders pass out, Hillary Clinton would get drunk, or something would happen. But that debate was just like, how much stuff can we steal from people that are successful to give to other people? And I want to talk about this, Bill, just for a few minutes. This free college kit that they got going right now. They're like, oh, we want to make sure that we can give college to people. Here's the thing. The American people need to understand this. And let me be very clear with the American people right now. There are millions of people out there with bachelor's and master's and advanced degrees that have no damn jobs in this country right now. They don't have any jobs. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give it away. So the people that paid for the degrees, that earned the degrees by getting scholarships or paying, getting student loans, doing it the right way, because they're actually they're doing it the right way. Instead, now we're going to just tax the hell out of somebody or run up the debt even more in order to give more people degrees. When there's already people with degrees that don't have any jobs or losing all hope of finding a job. And they're overqualified, so they can't even get a lower paying job. That's the crisis we have right now in this country. Is we have an unemployment crisis. The 5.1% unemployment is a lie. They're using commoncore math. They do not count people that have stopped looking for work, people that have fallen off the unemployment insurance, people that are underemployed, keeping multiple part-time jobs, or people that are SSI disability. We don't count those people. It's time to wake up. The numbers are lies. 94 million Americans don't work in this country. So you're telling me 5.1% unemployment is real? Bill, I'm not living in a fantasy world. What do you think?
No, you don't. And the thing is, I hope the next administration, whoever gets in, hopefully it's not Donald Trump, but somebody on the Republican side, goes in and actually readjusts the unemployment figures to show what the real unemployment is. Because it's going to be over 10, 12, 13, 14%. There's no way that the unemployment figures is 5.1%. And also giving away things. Somebody has to pay for it. It makes me very bitter that my tax money goes out to pay for illegals to get health care, for people to have a free lunch, whatever. I make a decent wage, but we have to watch what we spend. We don't go on lavish vacations and things like that. So it's very disheartening to see them wanting to give my money away to other people. And you look at the social experiment that happened in one company up in the Northwest, I think it was in Washington State, where the CEO raised everybody's wages to $70,000. if you've seen that.
I saw that.
$70,000 a year, regardless of they've been there or they just started. They're all started at $70,000. People are quitting left and right. I'd be very upset working my tail off for 5-6 years to make $70,000 a year, and some bozo off the street starts at $70,000 without having to earn it. So it's a failed social experiment whenever you go out and start giving people, trying to be putting people on an equal playing field. It just doesn't work.
He tried. He tried communism, Bill. He tried communism light. That's what he tried to do.
Right, and it failed.
It absolutely failed. It did. Because here's the thing. You would have people with like master's degrees in computer technology or whatever. Then you have the janitor making $70,000 a year, both of them. That's not fair. So someone worked harder, got an education, got skills, and they got paid. Were getting paid more. Then all of a sudden you're saying we're going to raise the wage to be equal. That's what's going to happen with the minimum wage bill. This is a prime example of it. So they're already starting to try this thing in the major cities. So they're raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour for fast food workers. So the paramedic that's making $15 to start, what's the motivation to do it? They're going to say, well, because they want to help people. Well, here's the thing. They can use minimum skills and get minimum education and get in the door and make $15 an hour. Where is the wanting to better yourself? I think this is just a sneaky leftist way to dumb down America even more. So why get a degree? I mean, here's the thing. There's companies out there, like in the community we live in, that start people about $15 an hour. They're not paying minimum wage, but you have to have a work ethic, certain skills to get the job done. I mean, dropping fries and working on computers are two different things. I mean, honestly, dropping fries is easy. Now, it may be hard physical labor, but if you don't want to do hard physical labor, be hot, get sweaty and greasy in the back of a fast food restaurant, which I did that, Bill. I fried chicken when I was a teenager. I did that. I bagged groceries. I stocked shelves. I did those things. But at the end game it's like, I didn't want to do that forever. I wanted to better myself. So you know what I did, Bill? Became the first in my family to graduate college. I had the motivation. I got a scholarship in high school. I paid the other 25% of my tuition and my books, and guess what, Bill? No student loan debt. You know why? I made a decision to do that. People need to make decisions to say, I will better myself. I will do it the right way. I will not have to depend on the government to do it. And here's the thing, Bill, and I'll do this as a disclaimer. I got a Bright Future Scholarship, which is paid by the state of Florida lottery, not the state of Florida taxpayer. I've had liberals before come up to me and say, Matthew, you got a scholarship from the state. Taxpayer money. No. It's the Florida lottery. People paid money to play the games, and I earned a scholarship based off that money that was being spent. So I think that was a very good investment. Now, you know what? I make decent money. I work hard. I've got a family. We pay taxes. We buy vehicles in the community, so it creates jobs. If you want to create jobs, you just don't raise wages. Because if you just raise wages, instead of having a better community of educated people, all you're doing is setting up the community for failure. $15 an hour is going to hurt the small businesses. It's going to hurt the fast food restaurants. Because all they're going to do is lay off the people that would have a job normally that maybe don't have the best of skills. They'll be looking for the best of the best now, and it's going to create even more unemployment, Bill, at the end of the game.
And the technology is getting to the point where you're seeing all these self-serve kiosks where you can go up, you can pay, you can put your order in at the kiosk, and all you have to have is somebody just drop your order off at the counter. So that's going to eliminate the cashiers, the people filling up all those kind of menial jobs. It's going to be replaced by an electronic kiosk. So there's already indications that the cities that are raising the minimum wage are suffering from this increase. But they're not going to admit that. They're going to think it's the greedy owners and things of that nature. But you can't start raising food prices because people will just go somewhere else. So it's punishing the people that are the small business owners, and the government has no idea how to run a business.
No, they don't.
It's such a with something that's normal again for that to happen, but that collapse is going to cause pain. So it's everything's accelerating, and it's very scary to see that, you know, the economics of the country and the world are on this bubble, and it's going to be any day before this bubble pops, and the people are going to walk around and go, what happened? And people like you and me and Steven and, you know, Tice, who's helping out as well, and the people are all of our valuable listeners, they understand this. But there's a majority of people, and I cannot wait for First Friday when we go out and interview people on the street and see exactly what the pulse and the knowledge of the people are. Because I would be shocked if people actually knew what's going on in this country.
I would be shocked too. We're gonna ask just basic questions of people. Now we're not gonna reveal the questions tonight, Bill, because we don't want people to study up and get the answers right. But there will be a pop quiz, First Friday, November 6th, downtown Lakeland, Florida. If you're watching us in the local area, in the Central Florida area, we will be wearing our T-shirts. So we're going to be very easily identified. We'll be live streaming on Periscope. We'll be recording it as well. So the listeners, the viewers of the show, will be able to see it not just live, but we'll actually upload it to the YouTube channel as well. So the American people can see what's going on. We're actually going to ask normal questions, and we're going to ask questions that you should know. I mean, Bill, I'm so tempted to say some of the questions I got on my mind, but I'm not going to do it because I don't want people to have a way if we happen to walk by and someone says, "Oh, I know the answers already." We don't want that to happen, but I'm very excited about the prospects of getting out there and seeing just the average Joe person in Central Florida and see what they know. That's what I'm really excited to do, because you know what? We're not going to belittle them. We're not going to berate them. We're going to try to educate people at the same time when we go out there. Because the Brown Report's not about making fun of people. Now, we do have some fun on the show, but it's about educating the public of what's going on. If you don't understand the dynamics of what's going on around you, you'll become a victim of your circumstances because you didn't know any better. But unfortunately, in the world that we're in right now, it's going to be a really bad end if you don't understand what's going on around you. But let's get back to the Democrat debate for just a few minutes, Bill, and we'll go on to some other topics tonight. That debate was, I know we talked about the college stuff, which was very interesting. They want to give it all away. I mean, look at free public education right now, folks. I mean, people there's a lot of situations where they can't even graduate high school, but we're going to pay for free college too. You know, it's nuts. So let's go on to this free paid leave thing they're talking about now. They're going to start forcing small companies to start doing paid leave. Now, if you work for a major corporation, and just a history thing, Bill, that we talked about on the show last night, which is very interesting as well. Health insurance was created back in the 1930s due to FDR and the federal government creating wage controls. During the Great Depression, they set wage floors and wage limits during that. So companies trying to hire the best of the best during that time period, they were offering health insurance. So you created a new marketplace for health insurance to get people to work for their company because they couldn't pay any more than anybody else could. So they created health insurance. Now health insurance is becoming a right rather than something as a way to entice people to work for somebody. Now we got this paid leave thing, and there's some jurisdictions in the country that have already passed paid leave. I guess they call it judicial leave or something of that sort in some jurisdictions.
Yes, judicial leave. It
Yeah.
depends on the state, and some states have it, and also within the state that might not have it depends on the county. So if you work in a county that has judicial leave, it kind of accrues like a sick leave. It's like free. So if you look at the FMLA program that Clinton set into place, which I think is great, if you have FML, but there can be a lot of abuse with that system, but it gave people an opportunity, if they have a serious health condition, to be able to take leave from work without being punished for missing the hours and missing the work. The judicial leave is pretty much a no questions asked that accrues as you accrue sick leave and vacation. So it's kind of another freebie that's passed out there that you can say, hey, I'm going to use this judicial leave. And nothing's being said, bypassing the FMLA and your regular company's leave procedures. So, I'm sorry I interrupted, but carry on, Matt.
No, and that's the thing, is a perfect explanation, Bill, and I'm glad you did the explanation for me. This is going to hurt small businesses. Small businesses need their employees. If you got a business of like 15 employees, if you have a few of them out because of this new leave situation, and they can pretty much take the time, that's going to hurt small businesses because they don't. If you have 2 people off of a company of 20,000 compared to a company of 10 or 15 people, that's a huge difference in productivity for your corporation. Now, I think that companies, if they want to entice people to work for them, they need to offer benefits like this. But if you choose to work for a small business or a small corporation with not a lot of people, you know that you're not going to be getting the perks of a big corporation, but you're going to get maybe the perk of working with a company where everybody knows each other's name. It's a more of a family atmosphere. It's not very corporate culture. Everything has its ups, its pros and its cons. And this is what's scaring me, Bill, is that the Democrats want to give it all away. Everybody's entitled to something. And instead of looking at, let's let the free market decide on what's going on. If a business cannot entice to get employees, then they might go out of business because they can't hire anybody. That's understandable. That's capitalism. If you want to keep your company going and entice people to work for you, you might have to increase your salaries or increase the benefits, more time off, do a profit sharing program, or 401ks. Do something that will entice people to work for you and retain them. The problem is now is we're going to create all across the board the same programs across all companies. Then all you're going to do is get people, jumping from company to company rather than staying stable. The biggest thing I've seen, Bill, over the years is people that jump from company to company, they typically stay in the lower income bracket because they never work up within a company, go up through the ranks, get an education, get a better job within the corporation, accumulate merit raises. And that's the problem. If you see people in minimum wage jobs throughout their lives, it's not because they're necessarily dumb people. It's because they didn't stay with the same company for a while. And a good thing about America is you can go to company and work for different places. But here's the thing. If you start jumping from company to company, eventually that resume looks like you're a jumper, and it's going to be a lot harder to get a job. People don't realize this, Bill, but your resume and your past work history will come back to haunt you in some cases.
Well, I agree. If you come in, let's say I own a business and I work in management, and you have 15 different jobs in the last 2 years, there's no way I'm going to hire you because that does not show stability, it does not show work ethic, it does not show drive. I want employees to want to work. They might not be making the most now, but if they put hard work and dedication in, there's a possibility and, a really good possibility of moving up throughout the corporations. So this fact of this instant gratification, the $15 an hour, the free paid leave for life, or whatever the case is, that's going to entice people that aren't educated enough to think about what their future is. I'm blessed to be able to work for a company that, heck, in 3 to 4.5 years, I can retire. Right, I'm in the position right now, I will be able to retire in 4.5 years, I'll be 50 years old. Now, will I stay retired? Heck no, I might open up Bill's Discount 3 for $10 t-shirts and margarita stand over the beach.
Hey, I'll go there.
The opportunity.
That's a win.
I'll hire you at $15 an hour, Matt.
Bill. I need paid leave.
Free margaritas, and you can try on all the shirts.
I need paid leave though, Bill.
You know what? I don't know. One other thing, you were talking about the debates, and I think one of the most uncomfortable moments of the debate, other than Bernie Sanders falling asleep and not paying attention, was when they were asked, do Black Lives Matter or do all lives matter?
Oh, brutal.
And that's, I think, when I was ready to throw my remote control across the room, and shortly thereafter that I turned off the TV, all lives matter. Black, white, I don't care what nationality you are, all lives do matter. So just watching them pander to this racist, terroristic group was sickening. And the majority of Americans don't believe in this bullcrap.
I agree.
So it's going to, I'm kind of glad they're kind of on record, the ones that said that, oh, just Black Lives Matter. It offended me that my life doesn't matter. So I think that was one of the most telling and uncomfortable moments of the debate, other than let's give free crap to everybody. And, you know, Bernie Sanders kissing Hillary Clinton's ass for the email thing. You know, it's going to be pretty cool to watch her being perp-walked pretty soon, especially with Huma going in front of the committee behind closed doors tomorrow.
Yeah.
So whenever they start comparing notes, it's going to be good times. And they just found out there's another email, private email that Huma used between the State Department and the different foundations and things. So it's going to be good times to watch this thing fall apart. So they're a bunch of hypocrites. Huh?
It's amazing. It's just amazing. I hope Hillary Clinton gets what comes to her, because karma, you know, karma's going to get her. It's going to get her. But I think Stephen had something to say. Stephen, you can chime in if you're there. There he is.
Yeah, I'm here, Matt. And Bill, I just wanted to kind of hit on what you were saying about employment and job history and, you know, pay, you know, FML, leave, things like that. Now, my job, I work in a capacity to where I work closely with employees. And job history will come to bite you in the ass. I mean, if you have so many jobs within a certain period of time, I mean, an employer could look at that, and that could be detrimental. And the bad thing is that everybody's looking for the next best thing. Nobody wants to put in any time and say, hey, I've got a fairly good employer. I want to, you know, maybe test it out for a few years. They're like, oh, shit, I can make another $1 an hour. I'm going to go jump. And then they find out that it's not all that good. And then they go to another employer and another. And it's not good for the economy. It's not good for GDP. You know, it's not even being in a production aspect, such as my job. But still, the same principle, I think, would apply, that there's no stability and no way that employers can offer what will satisfy the American people. And I think the thing is, we're so under this mindset that we're entitled. I want, I need, give me. And Hillary and Head and Shoulders and, you know, Bram Stoker's Dracula are telling everybody they're going to get all this free stuff. And we're sitting here mesmerized like we're going to get free stuff. Like, it's insane. You know, it's absolutely absurd, this thinking path that most young Americans my age, I would say between 20 and 30 or under, you know, they're under the impression that this is a raffle and everybody gets a consolation prize.
You're killing me with the Count Dracula thing. You're killing me, Stephen.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Whenever I went to my employer, I went there for a job. And over 17 years later, it's a career.
Yeah.
So, but I saw something. I saw the potential, and I knew hard work has a reward and a benefit and a fulfilling satisfaction. Now, there's days that I get in my car, I blast some heavy metal music, and I scream my way home. But the majority of my life, I'm very fulfilled, and I feel satisfied with what I do. And I think the society of today, that's gone. And you can look at the generational gaps between who's being employed at what companies. You got the older generation versus the younger generation. The younger generation wants me. I got my bachelor's degree, give me $80,000 a year. And the disappointment that sets in and the bitterness that they feel is something that, you know, their parents are coddling you on. The society is coddling them on, saying that, oh, you're going to go to college, you're going to get out, and you're going to make, you know, big bucks. But you're not. You have to work your way up. And and people just don't know the benefit of hard work. When the crap hits the fan, and it will hit the fan, not sure when, people that have not been prepared and understand the benefits of working hard, earning a living, doing what's needed to be done to support themselves and family, are going to have a very difficult time surviving in this society. And it's tragic magic, and there's no way that you can change that because all the indoctrination in the schools, all the stuff they watch on TV, all the mindless dribble that they see all over the place, that I'm the best, you're the best, everybody gets a trophy. Not everybody's a winner. Second place is first loser, folks. If you're not number one, you're a loser. So you have to be able to set yourself up thinking, I'm going to do the best thing that I can do. I'm going to do the hardest I can work to make something of myself. And that's completely lost on today's society.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
It is really sad, Bill. I 100% agree with you and Steven. I mean, if we want a society of career-minded people, we need to stop thinking about what's the next best opportunity. Because it's the old adage is the grass is not always greener on the other side. I've done it in the past, Bill. In past jobs I had, I jumped one point from one company to the other and went right back to the prior company I worked for. Because you know what? The grass was not green on the other side in that situation. Luckily, they took me back because they knew I was a hard worker, had a work ethic, and they knew I had made a mistake. And they knew that they, as an employer-employee relationship, I was very beneficial to them because here's the thing. I didn't drag my feet even when I put my 2 weeks notice in. I continued to work hard until the day that I actually left that job. Because here's the thing. With any job that you have, if you ever want to burn a bridge, you do something really stupid or you start slacking off. And unfortunately, in this society, we have pretty much people get their 2 days notice. They quit today rather than giving a 2 weeks notice. We got about 13 minutes before Barry gets on. So we got about 3 articles I want to talk about real quick with you, Bill, and see what's on your mind in regards to this. 10 news out of Tampa Bay area. Pulled an article from the Washington AP. President Obama will keep around 5,500 U.S. troops in Afghanistan when he leaves office in 2017, according to senior administration officials. Casting aside his promise to end the war on his watch, it is said ensuring he hands the conflict off to his successor. Here's the thing, Bill. When I'm looking at the situation, Obama made I don't know if it was on purpose or was a mistake, but a strategic blunder in Iraq by pointing out everybody there. He created a bubble for ISIS to become what ISIS is. Now, I'm not saying he did it on purpose or he did it on accident, but it happened. A lot of the military intelligence people said, don't do this, you will create a bubble, Iraq is not ready. And honestly, Bill, any Western style democracy in the Middle East will not work right now in this day and time. But I think that Obama may have waking up a little bit in terms of leaving at least 5,500 troops there as a presence to at least keep a buffer for Russia, keep a buffer for Iran, and keep a buffer for ISIS at the same time. Bill, what are your thoughts on this?
I think 5,500 troops is not enough. You got Russia. There's a report that Cuba is now getting into the Syrian conflict. China's talking about getting in. You got Iran with Hezbollah. We need to have a presence in that area. And 5,500 troops is not going to be enough to be able to do anything that's going to be beneficial. It might be symbolic, but whenever the Taliban started now to take control over the one city that unfortunately tragically bombed the hospital, and that's causing a lot of bad PR, the fact that we only have 5,500 troops is not going to be enough to create enough stability in the area to keep that country from falling under the hands of the Taliban or ISIS. And there's already indications that the government of Afghanistan is starting to curtail human rights, also limiting the rights of women, where the left is so big on women and human rights. I would think that they would want to, bolster that force up to make sure that at least one country in that whole region is going to be stable enough to maybe move forward and thrive. But I think it's just a symbolic thing that he's doing, keeping 5,500 troops just to keep some people appeased and happy. But it's not going to be enough.
But aren't we at the same time, Bill, propping up a country that still degrades women? We're still doing the same thing. I mean, we're leaving 5,500 troops. to keep Afghanistan from maybe opening more terrorist camps. But aren't we at the same time just, we've done this for, decades in our U.S. foreign policy. We prop up dictators in the Middle East. We create dictators in the Middle East, and they still, suppress women's rights. If Democrats really cared about gays and lesbians like they say they do in the United States, they would be up in arms. If they care about women's rights, minority rights, they'll be going out there to these foreign countries and demanding that they give these people rights. It's not because they care about people, Bill. It's about control. They get the feel-good thing in the United States, and frankly, they don't give a damn about what happens in other countries. They can care less if they're murdering Christians, stoning gays, lesbians, murdering them, beheading people. They don't really care because they never talk up about it, Bill. And that's just another example of, you have a valid point saying 5,500 isn't enough. I agree with you 100%, Bill. But at the same time, 5,500 troops to prop up what? The opium trade in Afghanistan? I mean, really, what if any strategic value do they have? They don't have any. Maybe some terrorist camps, if you want to, stop the terrorist camp thing. But we've learned over history the Soviets couldn't control it. We're controlling it somewhat. But at the same time, they don't want us there. I mean, sometimes you got to say, create your own destiny. But if you mess with us, we're going to bomb you back to the Stone Ages. That's how the U.S. foreign policy used to be. We're going to lay off you, but if you do anything to provoke us and threaten our national security, we will take care of you. And I think that's kind of what some Americans want to get back to. And I get that, but we live in a different day and time. We need to be a little bit more proactive. I think more proactive on the terrorism end and stop invading countries and propping up dictatorships or quasi-Western style democracy in these countries. It never works. But we got another article to talk about, Bill, here. Yahoo News pulled an article, Israelis invest in firepower as knife attacks arise in Israel. This is from Tel Aviv. Cars are double and even triple parked outside a gun shop at Israel's coastal city of Tel Aviv. Inside, customers jostle each other as they wait to be served. Israelis fearful of a rising in the number of knife and other attacks by Palestinians are increasingly turning to firepower for personal protection. 7 Israelis and around 30 Palestinians have been killed in an upsurge of unrest since October 1st, with many of the attackers wielding blades. Here's the thing. In Australia, it's happened in China, it's happened in the United Kingdom. Knifings. They take guns away from these people, but guess what they do? They resort to the next best thing. Automatic knives. Knifings. Unlimited clips of stabbings. This is the scary part, Bill, is we are heading towards a time in history where it's, why do they ban the knives, Bill? Because they have knife problems. It's the bad guys will always find a reason to hurt people. Baseball bats, crowbars, knives, guns. But here's the thing, wouldn't you want to protect yourself against somebody like that?
Right, yeah. It's crazy. Like China has that rash, and I haven't seen the story in a couple years, but people going in with machetes hacking up elementary school kids.
Yes. Crazy stuff.
It's sick. It's sick. And, you got a boss over in the Palestinian territories, being kind of complicit with all this stuff going on that's, being unleashed upon Israeli people by Hamas. So there's going to be a tipping point. I know there's a story that came out that they're going to start releasing and enabling private citizens to start arming themselves, which is good. Because you come after me with a knife, I'll smile, I'll shake my head, I'll reach to my side, and I'll kill you.
It's the old saying, don't bring a knife to a gunfight. That's the old saying.
Yeah, you're going to lose. I mean, unless you're like right on top of me and you surprise the hell out of me, you might get a stab in. But if you're coming at me with a knife, you have no chance. So hopefully people start realizing the importance of protecting themselves against knives, baseball bat attacks. People kill each other with a whole whole mess of other ways other than guns. Blunt force trauma, hammers, things of that nature. So there's no point in banning guns. They're going to have to ban knives, they're going to have to ban baseball bats, they're going to have to ban hammers, sledgehammers, whatever. A freaking computer monitor. I mean, you can
ban it all.
Somebody pretty quick with a whole mess of household items.
Ban pillows because you might be able to suffocate somebody. Ban bed sheets because you can hang somebody. Ban it all. I mean, here's the thing. Evil will try to get you. Evil people exist. And by taking away your self-defense, and by the way, folks, and I talked to someone today, it made complete sense. The Second Amendment bill, your right to bear arms shall not be infringed. And he's a concealed carry guy. And I talked to him today, and I'm like, well, we're talking about open carry maybe coming to Florida. And he says, I'm not going to open carry. It's just not the way I want to do it. I just want to still conceal. And I get that, 100%. I get that. But at the same time, it's like I already have an open carry right. It's called my right to bear arms shall not be infringed. My Second Amendment right is my right to open carry. I don't want someone to be the test case here, Bill. But one day there's going to be a test case going to the Supreme Court where someone open carried and they're going to get arrested and they're going to say, let's bring it to the Supreme Court. Because it clearly says, my right to bear arms shall not be infringed. And it does not say that I have to conceal my gun. It says, my right to bear arms shall not be infringed. And I keep reminding people that. If you allow the government to tell you what to do, and you follow their rules that are completely illegal, then you're giving up your rights voluntarily. That's the nutty part about this country right now.
And if you look at the Second Amendment, and I don't have it in front of me, so I can't quote it verbatim, there's strategic commas in there. With a well-regulated militia, comma, the right to bear arms shall not be infringed, comma.
Yes.
There's separate ideas.
Exactly.
Within the Second Amendment.
It wasn't a run-on sentence.
So, yeah, you can go out there, and I would love to see a test case. I don't know if I want to go through that.
I want to be the test case.
Money for the legal fees,
but I think it'd be very interesting.
Pretty freaking interesting to see what would happen if you bring up the Second Amendment. You can't dispute the Second Amendment. That trumps everything. The Constitution trumps everything. Exactly.
Now, if they want to amend the Constitution, try it. It's not going to work. I mean, there's too many people out there that say, "Oh hell no, you're not going to do that," and they'll vote out every representative that dare do it. But we got two more things real quick, and one of it's going in regards to the gun control thing. There's a Common Core line writing lesson on gun debate fuels claims of political agenda. This comes out as Common Core backers are sneaking a social and political agenda into nationalized curriculum, say critics, who now have new ammo in a writing lesson plan for teachers that gives them a slanted perspective on the gun control debate. A study guide dubbed The Battle Over Gun Control, authored by QED, a Northern California affiliate of National Public Radio and the nonprofit taxpayer-subsidized National Writing Project, states that the quote-unquote moderate gun control measures introduced following the Sandy Hook school massacre were deep six by quote-unquote powerful political influence of the NRA. Second Amendment advocates say the wording in the supplement material designed to help teachers plan instruction frames the debate as a one-sided fashion aimed at influencing young minds. I 100% agree with that. I think this is complete garbage. They go for the kids. Every time communists and socialists in any regime, Hitler, Stalin, all these jokers, Mao, all of them surround themselves with kids, saying we're going to take the guns away for the protection of our children. It's Democrats doing the same damn thing here, Bill. Same thing. And now they're trying to indoctrinate our kids in the public school system with this garbage.
Right. And some of the guiding questions that teachers can use are, such gems are rules and guidelines that were created over 200 years ago still applicable today? people in our society own guns, are we safer or more at risk? And how about this one? How accurate is this statement? The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Amen.
Yes.
Yes. There's a bad guy with a gun in a restaurant. They're going to be taken down with a good guy with a gun. You're not going to call 911, wait 8 minutes as he walks around execution style and kills the people.
You're not going to be able to stop them with a knife. You're not going to. Here's the thing. You're really going to stop them without a gun? I mean, we've got, like, the Olive Garden restaurant in, I think it was in Kansas, and I apologize if I get it wrong, but they told a police officer with a gun saying, you cannot come into the restaurant, even though you're on duty to go to a birthday lunch. You can't come in. I'm like, dear Lord. So what happens? What happens whenever you have a robbery? The officer can't come in because he's got a gun on him? I mean, are you going to tell the robber you can't come in because you have a gun? No. That's how nutty this country's got.
Yep, I agree. It's a complete lunacy. So
It is. But we're going to wrap up this segment. It's 9:01 in the East. Bill, I want to thank you so much for helping me with the first hour of the show. I greatly appreciate you. You're a great American, and we'll talk to you next week, Bill.
You too, Matt. Talk to you later. Have a good night, folks.
Thanks a lot, Bill. Bill Sedberg, everyone, co-host tonight. We greatly appreciate his knowledge and his support for the show. He is a great American. We appreciate him so much. Now we got another great American, Barry Seacrest of ConservativeRefocus.com, and the host of Conservative Refocus Live that can be heard also on Blog Talk Radio. Barry, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Matthew. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing really good. Now, you've got some really great topics tonight, but I want to start with this topic first. And I talked about this last night on the show, and this is just, we talked about the pending economic collapse, biblically, economically, so many different things that are intertwined here, Barry. Walmart yesterday, their stock price went down an amazing 10% in one day. It was so bad yesterday, Barry, that Albertsons, which is now a privately held grocery store chain, they made the decision to not do their IPO because of the Walmart situation. They're like, oh, hell no, we're not doing this. We'll wait. So Walmart they've increased wages. They have also, they're spending a lot of money. Also, it came out yesterday that their Chinese Walmart division, they have a private investor that's now selling off their minority stake in the Walmarts in China for over $500 million. They want out. So if you want to look at the pending economic doom, look at Walmart. They do so much business with China in terms of importing goods to the United States, and they also are shutting down stores in the United States and in China right now. This article that you pointed out tonight, this is just another example of the pending economic doom that's coming. And if people don't get, Walmart is the biggest retailer in the entire world. And if they are struggling, there's some underlying economic problems that the American people do not understand, and they're not getting the truth. What do you think, Barry?
Well, you and I talked about it. We went over the Shemitah many times, and there wasn't anything. We lost a lot. Remember, if you will, back in mid to late September, we lost a lot of, I think it was over $2 trillion in the United States. But if you go out and look across the entire planet, there was about $40 trillion in wealth that was lost in September. So while there wasn't anything, massive here necessarily, you go across we know that the Eurozone's economy is failing right now. It's not doing well. And they're a bunch of Euro socialists. And we know that China's not doing very well right now, and that's according to fascist communism going on out there. And here in the U.S., I heard one report that basically stated that, consumers aren't in a buying mood right now. They're not in a buying mood, Matthew. That's what the problem is. We're just not in the mood. Mercury's in retrograde. Everything's screwed. So, it's not anything major. It's not Obama. It's not his this Euro socialist economy that he has fostered. It's just we're just not quite in the mood right now, you know. Maybe we need some economic Viagra to get everything up, you know, get the blood pumping. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I tell you, I think the reset is happening. A lot of people believe that we are right now in a planetary depression, if not worse. And a lot of people have already said that in many ways this is like the Depression. And the problem is the White House, the government, is playing very loose and very fast with our stock numbers. And you and I have gone over the past couple of years. We have explained baseline budgeting. We have explained the stimulus and what happened there. The fact that they have spent it every year, which is how Obama has amassed more debt than any other president combined, all of the presidents combined, in our entire history. And, you know, what was funny, the Walmart, like you said, is the largest company in the world, and they're not doing very well. Now, some people are ascribing that to, Amazon, but I don't think we've seen a massive amount of not to even rival Walmart, but you know they'll come up with any number of excuses.
Yeah,
it's all
excuses. It's never facts. Where's the facts? I mean, they're not explaining to the American people, which they don't want to. With the Federal Reserve, they decided not to raise interest rates in September. And here's the thing: it was there was bad news and bad news. Either they increased the rates because they felt the job market was good enough to do, which would have hurt the economy, or they would say no to raising rates because the job market's not good, which we knew that already, Barry. I mean, we know with 94 million people not working, the 5.1% unemployment rate's a complete lie. So the Fed is now talking about raising rates again, maybe at the end of the year, away from its virtual 0% interest that they've been loaning to the banks. This is a doomsday scenario. They know if they raise the rates, it's going to cause an economic contraction. But they know at the same time, our economy is so weak, we're not buying Chinese goods. The Chinese government is not happy. The Chinese government, if they get a bunch of unemployed people, and they're going to create their own stimulus too. Because here's the thing, you don't want 300 million starving Chinese people with nothing better to do around. Even if they don't have any guns, there's still 300 million starving Chinese people that would want to overthrow your government. That's the thing. China is very dangerous right now. They have over $1 trillion in their treasury bonds. Barry, they sold $22 billion in treasury bonds about a month ago to get the hedge fund managers to buy stocks in their stock market to keep it afloat. After they were arresting hedge fund managers for manipulating the market. They're doing the same damn thing, except for they're not locking them up anymore. That's scary stuff. You're dealing with crony capitalism in China, crony capitalism in the United States, and it's a recipe for absolute disaster.
It really is. I mean, they call China communist, but they're really a bunch of it's sort of a combination of hybridization of communism and fascism. Because some people say, well, they have capitalism. No, it's not capitalism over there. Not really. It is fascism, and that's where the government joins up with big business in order to make you buy things. And the oligarchs, you don't really have a single dictator in any system. I don't care what it is. It's always an oligarchy, just like we have one here. And you see, a lot of people, I look at this a little bit differently. When you look at what is happening in Congress right now, that is an uprising against the oligarchy being the establishment. It's the same thing. We have fascism light over here right now. We have the White House, the entire government joining up with the military-industrial, big pharma, big bank complex, and they are starting to call the shots together. That is the definition of fascism. And on top of that, you've got, in many cases, some of these big companies in many sectors trying to drive the smaller players out. They're consolidating. I just ran a story tonight where, believe it or not, a public school in Tennessee is having to shut its doors due to Obamacare, Matthew. And this is, it is a big gaping black hole that's sitting right in the middle of the heartland, a black hole that is sucking jobs down, is sucking hourly wages down. Nobody hardly can get a full-time job, especially at the entry-level position, because they want to cap your hours at 30, so that they don't have to call you full-time, so that they then don't have to buy Obamacare for you. And this is in addition to the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of, probably hundreds of thousands of businesses that have already shut their doors. Right now we have the lowest new business level production of new companies in the history. I mean, going all the way back. We've never seen it like this before. And meanwhile, they're trying to play this 5.1% while hiding the fact that they took in the BLS, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, about 3 or 4 years ago under the wings of the White House so that they would be able to control and shade and slide and shimmy all of those numbers into their favor. And, you know, when the BLS comes up with their numbers, it's an extraordinary fact that I cannot still wrap my mind around. They do it on census. They just call up people and say, hey, you got a job? And they're like, no, or yes. And they say, okay. And they do their numbers via census, Matthew. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It is. And that article that you mentioned that is running says Clay County's inability to generate the revenue to offset the mandates from Obamacare is what's caused this to come to a head. Strong said to the Associated Press. The straw that broke the camel's back was really the Affordable Care Act for us, and it has made it very difficult for us to have our employees properly covered and meet the mandates of the law. This was going to require new revenue, and the commission felt like they couldn't do that through a tax increase. So here's the thing. They're mandating that the public school system do a federal type of insurance plan. And in order to comply with it, they're going to have to raise taxes on people that may not be able to afford the tax increase. They just cannot print money like the federal government can, Barry. And that's the scary part. This is happening in northern Tennessee. And this is going to be happening around a lot more places. And I don't know if you see this picture floating around Facebook, but this one person put out their tax bill that they owe almost $3,000 to the IRS because they couldn't afford the $1,000+ a month in Obamacare to afford that. So they get penalized because they couldn't afford something that the government's mandating. This is this is nuts.
$2,344, man. I mean, you know, it's just incredible. It is this is a debacle. Obama has failed on pretty much every single front. The only front he hasn't failed on, as far as we're concerned, is the installation of socialism. He's done quite well at it. And you know, Matthew, it was striking when we saw those 5 Democrats get up in front of the crowd.
Oh my God, what a mess!
You know, I thought, I don't know, I'm sure you've been over this many times, but when I was watching, I made a conscious effort not to watch the debate because I didn't want my numbers counted, okay? I didn't want me to be part of those Nielsen ratings because I could care less of what these quasi-communists have to say, but what got me coming out of the bank was I thought that at least they were going to make an act on the fact, I mean, just a play act that we're a bunch of expert capitalists, we know what we're doing. They didn't even play act at it. I mean, they were just coming out as quasi-communists. I mean, and to me it was disgusting. It really was. And here they were going at it. They were giving everything away. But the one thing that really got me is they stood up and all but one in front of the American people said that when given a choice between all lives matter or black lives matter, all but one who worked in the Reagan administration said that black lives matter. And, it was crazy because basically what they said is if you are Hispanic, you don't matter. Your life is worthless to us. If you are Asian, your life is worthless to us. If you're, European, your life is worthless to us. If you're white, your life is worthless to us. The only thing that's worth anything to us are black lives. That was their that was really the underlying theme that ruined it for me as far as even taking them to any degree of seriously, which I wouldn't anyway, but I will listen to them. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and most of the time, that doubt just, is like a tower for me as far as the socialist Democrats go. But the other thing is, at least we won't have to give them Secret Service if they win the presidency, because they've already told us their lives don't matter. And they were all white. That's the killer part of it. They were all white. They were all up there saying only black lives matter. So their families, Hillary's Bill and Chelsea, their lives do not matter to Hillary Clinton. Matthew, isn't that fascinating? Even her life doesn't matter to her because she has very little pigment. I mean, she looks like a ghost up there, shriveled up ghost up there.
She might be a ghost already.
It was just incredible. Yeah, she might be. Oh, I think she is. I don't think there's any way this woman's going to get elected. I just really don't. I think there were a lot of positives there because it served the purpose of Biden backing down. And if Biden had come in there, he could be, the fact that he is dumb as a rock, it obviously doesn't matter to the Democrats, okay? It's dishonesty, it's killing babies, it's taking away your freedoms, and charging you shit tons of money for health care, for services that you don't need. That's the thing that gets it, And, we're going back to the fact that if indeed the only way you're ever going to use Obamacare is if you get hit by a truck. It's got to be something pretty major, okay? So, I mean, seriously, I am just, right now, I was in such a maelstrom of disgust for the first part of this week with everything that I've been posting up, and I'm starting to crawl out of it now. It just gets to me sometimes, Matthew. I know it does you too.
Yes, it does sometimes. Here's the thing, Barry. Why doesn't a Republican, I think Donald Trump would be the best example to do this, because you know what? He's got no filter. Why doesn't he just say this? Attention, black people, African Americans in the United States. Do you think the Democrats really give a damn about you? Think about it. Detroit, New York, any major city, crime-ridden, Detroit, Chicago, crime-ridden, poverty, unemployment terrible in black communities, black on black crime terrible, and guess who's in charge? Democrats. Why doesn't Donald Trump, and I think he might be the best person to say it, saying the Democrat Party has failed you. They have failed you. They have kept you poor, uneducated, and dependent on them. Come to the Republican Party. We want to build your lives up and give you a legacy for your children, and to stop murdering children in your community. Why doesn't someone say that, Barry? Because it's the damn truth. It's the truth.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably because they think that nobody would. The Democrats aren't really. I mean, the hardcore black voters are. I think they're going to start coming around pretty soon. Maybe.
God, they got to, Barry.
It may have something to do with Obama leaving office, as bad as that may be, but. I believe they're starting to figure out, I mean, their income has dropped worse than any other level. And, this thing about socialism and what's happening in the United States, we've seen the most widening between the haves and the have-nots under Obama that we've seen really in the history of the United States. And, they keep trying to sort of dovetail it over into look at the economic meltdown that occurred 7 years ago, and it doesn't work anymore, and they know it. These are all Obama's policies coming to fruition, and it hasn't gotten any better. They've done this damnable baseline budgeting. They've pushed us to such a degree that nobody really knows how in the hell we're going to pay for all this debt. And yet these minions of Marx were up there on the stage on Tuesday night, and they were selling the very thing that's killing us. And, 94 million people are not productive. That's what nobody ever talks about here. That's the big hairy secret is there's no way a population of 50 million people, including illegal aliens and whatnot, refugees too, I guess, but there's no way we're ever going to compete with China if over a third of our workforce, the workable workforce, are just laying around the couch eating Cheetos all day and accepting government checks. It's not going to work. And they're already trying to pull the dollar from the world reserve currency. China and Russia and even other nations now are beginning to see the light. They say, as bad as that sounds, but it's just true. We are spinning ourselves into oblivion, and it's all, I believe, is going to start coming to a head. The other thing was, you mentioned China. There was a report that came out today that China has already stated that if the U.S. sails its Navy down into those Chinese islands, they will indeed fire on them. In other words, they could start a conflict with our U.S. Navy if we come down around their artificial islands, which, you know the story behind that. They just went into sort of the middle of a narrow part of the China Sea down there, and they started building islands so that they could claim, you know, like 50 miles of territorial water around these artificially created islands. I say we do that in the Gulf and then start firing on the Chinese ships. Go ahead and build our little territorial islands in the Gulf and call it, okay, this is U.S. territory. Now you got to stay. If you just dot the Gulf with that, we can drive all of the people drilling all of our oil out of the Gulf, just get them out of there and claim it as territorial waters. It wouldn't be any different, folks. That's the thing that's happening over in China. They want to claim all of the assets that are in that particular territory, including oil and everything else, and so they're just making artificial territories, and then they're using international law to claim it as territorial waters of China. So you could just dot anything anywhere you wanted to, as long as you can build down 30 miles. I mean, you can create an artificial land and claim it as your territory, and then say, okay, nobody can come within 50 miles of this. If you do enough of those, you could create a chain where nobody can cross the sea lane. And that's the primary purpose of the U.S. Navy, is to keep the sea lanes open to trade. That's what it was initially designed for, and that's what it's been doing ever since. And, of course, it projects massive amounts of power, but that is their primary purpose. So, we're being challenged. We're being challenged by Russia in the Mideast. We're being challenged by China in the South Sea. We're being challenged by Mexico in our own territory. We're being challenged by ISIS as they pour in as refugees. You saw the videos from Germany. Everything is pretty much going to hell under this idiot that we have president. But he's not really an idiot, because his plan is you couldn't choreograph this any better for Obama, Matthew.
You couldn't. And going to that, you had an article run on conservativerefocus.com. Obama just airdropped 50 tons of ammunition to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State fighters in Syria. Tell us what's going on with this garbage.
50 tons of ammo to the people that knocked down the World Trade Center. Okay, that's going to work really well. Thank you. I'm sure they'll come try to knock another one down. Just give them time to get over here. Oh hell, just with your DHS buses that you're using for the Mexican illegals, just go pick up some ISIS illegals and bring them in here. And use a trailer for the 50 tons of ammunition they now have. I mean, this is the craziest thing. Look, they keep telling us, well, it's the moderate rebels. There are no true moderate rebels, because moderates don't fight. They run. They flee. Okay? Moderates don't fight. And if you go and look at the rebel factions that they keep talking about, al-Nusra, that's the main one, which is a Sunni Islamic faction of Al-Qaeda. Yeah, those are not good guys, okay? Then you've got Hizb ut-Tahrir, an Islamist group dedicated to the installation of a Mideast caliphate, same goal as ISIS, okay? And then you've got the Muslim Brotherhood. We all know about them, root organization of hundreds, if not thousands of terrorist groups, all inspired to build a Sunni-based caliphate across the Mideast. And then you've got the Syrian Islamic Front, and these are the largest ones once again. These are the secondary groups. So they want to install an Islamic State in Syria. You've got the Syrian Islamic Liberation Front, and they're dedicating to installing a state of Islamic reference. The Islamic Front is a group backed by Saudi Arabia, dedicated to rejecting secularism and installing a Sharia-dominated Islamic government. ISIL, also known as ISIS. Obama calls them ISIL because he loves including Israel, the Levant. That's Israel, Lebanon, and Jordan, basically. Okay? So that's why everybody else calls it ISIS, which is the Islamic State of Syria. Well, you've always heard Obama refer to it as ISIL, and what they're talking about is Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and Israel. It's like Obama's wet dream, okay, for ISIS to take over Israel. That's pretty much it. That's why you hear him calling them ISIL all the time. It's his fantasy, okay? So you see all of this happening. These are all the groups. They're all Sunni Islamists, okay? And the ones that are in play in the Syrian government for Bashar al-Assad are the Shias, and that's his Alawite sector, which, the Alawites are not that hardcore as far as Islamism goes. All right, so, so let's say he removes Bashar al-Assad. Well, everything will be happy then, right? No, because then you're going to get all of these rebels taking over. It will be Al-Qaeda or ISIS or some conjunction of all three of them, meaning the Muslim Brotherhood as well, forming a government for Syria. Now, you saw what happened in Egypt, right? And
Yes.
you saw how they were going around killing Christians to beat the band and, driving other people out. And you saw already what they're doing in Iraq. And what in the hell does this idiot Obama think they're going to do in Syria? Well, maybe it's just the idiots throughout our media because they don't stop and explain what I just told you. Even these dumbass generals that get on Fox News and everywhere else, well, there's the moderates. I mean, we should have armed the moderates. The moderates are taking our arms and giving them, surrendering them to ISIS, if not pledging their allegiance to them. Okay? The best thing that Obama can do is turn his ass around and cut a trail back to the U.S. With his people and let Syria stay in power. Because if they don't stay in power, all hell's going to break loose in Syria. And Obama insists on funding it, so it's just going to spin further and further out of control. And that, Matthew, is precisely what Obama wants. I do believe that.
He's destabilized so many countries in the Middle East. And I've said this many times. Assad, I don't think Assad is this bad guy. I mean, he's a doctor. He's a moderate. He's tolerated Christians. He's tolerated a lot of stuff. He's not this bad guy. And President Obama needs a bad guy there because he wants to overthrow another moderate country. Look at Gaddafi. Gaddafi was not a good dude, but he was allowing Christians to live there. They were tolerated. There was no issue there. Same thing with Egypt. He goes in there and allows the Muslim Brotherhood to come about. Iraq, even with Saddam Hussein, with Bush around, Saddam Hussein might have been a bad dude, but Christians and the Kurds were allowed to live there in peace. All these things that keep on happening, I can't trust the media to tell us the truth. Assad, I've seen the interview with him. He does not project to me, Barry, as this straight-up militant Islamic guy that wants to kill Christians. It's not Assad.
And what Obama's trying to do, if you look at it from 30,000 miles away, okay, if you just get way up above it and just, okay, well, let's see what's happening from way up here. He's trying to install Sharia throughout every single nation in the Mideast. And if you look at Egypt, or what he tried to do there, and he was unsuccessful because of the Egyptian military, you look at Syria, there is not Sharia law there. He's coming down on this. He loves, as I've said many times, he loves his Muslim sunny side up because that's where he came up in Indonesia. His dad was an Islamic Sunni operative, Lolo Satora. Obama's entire goal is to completely dominate the Mideast with Sharia factions. That is his entire goal. He does not want Iraq to be Shia-dominated. He wants it to be Sunni-dominated. But he puts up with the Persian form of Islam, which is, Iran, which is a Salafi form of Islam that seeks to bind these two, Shia and Sunni, together. And the Persian form of Islam is different from other more traditional forms of Islam. So what they are seeking to do and what they will try to do is to combine, and I believe this is why you see this impetus for Obama coming down on Iran's side with the nukes, etc. He's trying to get these nations all to combine into one massive Islamic force where the Sunnis get along with the Shias. And if he does that, there will be a caliphate, and they will be a power to be reckoned with. And this is why you only see Putin going in and actually prosecuting a war against the terrorist factions there. And look, Putin is no hero, because you look at the other side of the coin, Shia Islamists in Iran, that is a Islamic republic dedicated to a theocratic rule with Sharia law. It's just the other side of a very evil coin. And all of them hate Israel. They want to take over Rome. They want to defeat Christianity. They want to run Israel. They want to run Israel off the face of the earth and kill everybody. and this is their goal. And Obama is doing a very fine job of making sure that that will eventually, what he thinks will eventually happen. But if you're going to the prophecies, we already know what's going to happen. It's not going to go very well for them, Matthew, according to, and we can see it lining up. All the prophecies are lining up even now as we speak. We don't know when all of these different things are finally going to come together fully. But we can see everything taking shape. It's slowly resolving into focus, and everything has been exactly as the as Ezekiel, Revelation, Daniel, all of these books have stated over time. Everything is lining up precisely with those prophecies, Matthew.
It is. Last topic tonight, Barry, and this is something that's really gaining some traction. Trump and Carson are threatening through their campaigns to boycott the next GOP debate. We've said this before, Barry, on several different occasions. I don't trust the media mainly because they're all about ratings and advertising dollars. They don't really care about educating the public. Like the first Fox debate, it was all about getting ratings to say, hey, did you hear what they said on Fox during the debate? It was never about educating the people. And it's the same thing with CNN and CNBC. All these major news outlets are charging premium dollars in order to run ads during these things. And they want to make these things 3 or 4 hours long so they can create this ad revenue during this rating season. Barry, do you think that Trump and Carson are really serious about not coming to this debate to change the terms? Because they don't want a 3-hour debate. They more like want an hour and a half or 2 hours, which I think if you keep it to an hour, an hour and a half to 2 hours is much better than 3 to 4 hours. What's your thoughts there?
Well, I think it's interesting that these two gentlemen have seemed to draw up a sort of alliedship, okay? They seem to be allies for both of them to come forward. They are working on this together. And wouldn't it be something if we saw a Trump ticket with Carson? I mean, can you imagine the power of that ticket? Two outsiders, one a black brain surgeon, one of the most, inarguably one of the most brilliant men in the United States. You'd have to be 15,000 surgeries. And, we people, I'm sure, all of this racism that we conservatives have been accused of has been, all of a sudden we hear nobody talking about it. Have you heard anything where, because we like Carson, we love Trump, we love Carson. I mean, I like Carson. I've seen some negative things. And by the way, I saw Fiorina, man, she's dropped like a rock.
She has.
Well, it would seem.
Lately, yeah, she has.
Yeah, she has. But yeah, I know. I mean, I think they will. Look, if these guys bail on it's a gamble. But if these guys bail, who's going to watch it? And what are they going to do? You know how Trump is. He's going to have something up his sleeve. This guy doesn't do anything without a plan. So he figures there may be something in there where he's like, okay, I'm gonna build an alternative over here with this network, and you and I will go and debate. It could be any number of things, but CNN, we'll see, and maybe they are sort of playing a game of chicken with CNN. But personally, I've heard a lot of different opinions on this, but I thought CNN took it very easy on the candidates up there, as opposed to how they did with the Republicans, which it wasn't unexpected. But I don't know what you thought. What did you think of that? Did you think were they prosecuting the number one person the way they did Trump, Matthew?
CNN, I'm not really surprised about how Anderson Cooper went after Hillary Clinton. He had to in that debate, mainly because of his ties to the Clinton Foundation. He wanted to kind of say, I'm an independent guy. I thought Anderson Cooper did a decent job. I mean, he's like, you didn't answer my question. I'm like, damn, Anderson, that was pretty gutsy. I'm like, wow. But I got a little bit more respect for him because I think he was more going hard line on him. It's like, listen, give me the answer. You skirted my question. What's the answer? And I'm like, I respected Anderson Cooper for doing that. But it was a ratings thing too, Barry, because you know what we're doing right now? We're talking about CNN. I mean, I get it. But at the same time, I thought it would be a little more softball with him. But he asked some really tough questions. But of course, we got the typical socialist response, progressive response. Like they asked Hillary, "Are you a capitalist or I guess or a progressive?" She says, "I'm a progressive." Of course you are, Hillary. You're progressive anywhere that gets you elected. That's the kind of progressive you are. You know, Barry, these Democrats, I've talked to so many people out there, they're saying it's the Republicans to lose. The Democrats have no chance.
Oh, yeah.
As long as you get a Republican, not a Mitt Romney type of like, I won the first debate, I'm going to cruise in and win this thing. No. You need someone strong that's going to go and tell the American people what they need to hear, what's really going on, and the truth. I think if someone tells the truth of how really bad it is and how the unemployment numbers are a lie, how the debt is very concerning, how our trade is not going well with foreign countries, how the economy is really not doing that well, if we got the truth and started to wake the people up, I think that Republican could win. Now, will we have that candidate, Barry? Don't know yet. I mean, we still got a long way to go. We haven't got to the first primary, the first caucus yet. That's the thing. We have a lot of time. We have several months before the first one happens. I am, God willing, we get the right candidate that will get the message out there. Don't know yet, Barry, but we shall see.
Yes, we will. And I'm watching. It looks to me like it's going to be Trump or some combination of Trump and Carson. I don't know that it's going to be Trump and Cruz anymore, although a lot of people were thinking that at first. It's difficult for me to see anybody, unless Trump really screws up bad. I don't see him doing that. It's going to be really, hairy if he does, what happens after that. But also, we're getting ready to see, I think, Rand Paul, I don't know if you saw his live stream the other day where he was basically just cussing up the storm while, he was talking about his quote-unquote, this dumbass live stream I've got to do. Yeah, I'm still running. I mean, I was laughing so hard.
I mean, what was his deal?
I said, if he'd have done that from the very start, he'd probably be looking much better in this race. But anyway, we'll see. I mean, anything can happen, but a lot of, the establishment types are all against Trump. Yeah, and even they're saying it looks like he's going to be in there. The other interesting thing is Trump is now rolling out his family members into the media, and they are coming and seconding how great of a guy. This guy knows how to do it. He knows how to run a media press, probably unlike any. He is schooling these candidates.
He is.
And Carson is doing a good job, an extraordinary job as well, and he's catching up with Trump. I don't think he's going to overtake him, but because when the long knives come out with these guys, and Carson does have some problems there. Nothing bad major, but he's got some political issues in his past, a lot of which I already know about. I'm not talking about them. I don't think it's time, but it'll be interesting to see. Trump has those same problems as well. The ironic part is some of these other ones don't have so much of the problems, but nobody's the establishment types. Nobody's really interested in hearing what they have to say because they've heard it all before. So it is a fascinating thing, and I love seeing the establishment getting their stuff handed to them. I think it's hilarious.
I think it is too. But before we go, Barry, tell the listeners about your website and about your radio show that you host on Wednesdays.
Oh, sure. It's conservativerefocus.com, and we post news just about every day, 2 or 3 stories, and I write regularly during the week, and you can come there anytime and read what we've got up. It's a very popular website. And then we've got the show that we run on Wednesday nights at 7 to 9, and that's where we're mixing in all kinds of things, prophecy and conservative political analysis and some other strange things on top of that to try to come up with an idea of what's going on in the world. And, we have fun with it, and we get pretty close, I think, sometimes. So, and I enjoy being on your show, Matthew. You do a great job, so I really appreciate you having me on.
Thanks a lot, Barry. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next Thursday night.
Okay, you too, my friend. Take care. God bless.
Barry Seacrest, everyone. He comes on our Thursday night edition of the show talking all things politics. We greatly appreciate his thoughts on his website, conservativerefocus.com, and also he has a great radio program on Wednesday nights, Conservative Refocus Live, and we greatly appreciate him joining us on the program tonight. As always, folks, BrowerReport.com is your home of news and views that you can use because we're looking out for you, the American people. If you're watching on Periscope, you see this wonderful Brower Report t-shirt. If you're watching on YouTube after the show, remember, folks, we're going out street team style Friday, November the 6th. First Friday, downtown Lakeland, Florida. Make sure you see us. Hashtag Brower Report. We'll be hashtagging in Periscope, live streaming, and we'll also post it on the YouTube channel as well. If you like YouTube, you like video, go to youtube.com, search Brower Report, subscribe to it, and you can get all the video for free from YouTube. As always, folks, the feel-good story of the day. You know why, folks? Because the people demand the feel-good story. We posted a graphic that our producer and graphic designer Tyson did up for the show tonight. Israeli soldier helped Arab girl. There's a picture of this Arab girl with some mules in the background. Israeli soldier with his gun and on his back, and he went to this girl. Arab girl desperate for something to eat. He put his current situation aside in order to give the child some hope. Folks, there's a serious situation going on in Israel right now with all the stabbings, all of this politicized things that are going on in Washington, D.C., saying, pretty much calling the Israeli government terrorists and the Palestinians terrorists. There's terrorism on both sides. Folks, these are human beings that are being affected here in this quote-unquote conflict. Keep in mind, folks, the Israelis, the state of Israel, allows the Palestinians to live there. The Palestinians, for generations, were pushed away from other countries. And finally, the Israelis said they can stay. They can stay. Now, they're not going to get their own Palestinian state that they want. But the Palestinians have never had a state to begin with. But remember, there are children involved here. Children that are being educated on how to kill and maim people. This is scary stuff. But there's some hope when you have people that will put aside the conflict and say, I will help this child because this child needs hope. Maybe that will change the life of that child. And that child will one day become a leader and change the course of history. If we do not treat our children with the utmost respect and try to guide them and help them understand that there is hope in maybe what seems a hopeless situation, we can change the course of history. And this soldier is trying to make that difference. And I appreciate that. Helping a child desperate for food in a conflict that adults are running while using children as propaganda, that's scary stuff. But I applaud the soldier for taking time to help a child in need. Remember, folks, we're live Tuesday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Brower Report. YouTube.com, search Brower Report, subscribe, get all the videos right there. BrowerReport.com, your home of news and views that you can use, and Facebook.com, over 2,200 likes. Make sure you like us there. Go to Facebook.com/BrowerReport for the latest news and views that you can use, because we're looking out for you, the American people. We'll be back Tuesday night, live, 8 p.m. each time, with our Republican strategist, Chris Berardi, and co-host the program on Tuesday night. And we'll be doing some lineup changes coming up soon with some of our hosts to better support outside activities so we can get people involved more and more in the show. So thanks a lot for listening. We'll be back Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great night.